Hey, hey, Rambo.
Hey, hey.
Welcome to the Renaissance, Rambo. We have
Yeah,
arrived.
Conspiracyville's on fire, innit, at the minute? It's gone crazy.
It's gone crazy, but I'm just more, it's more, our work is,
That we have to rewind
it's crazy. No,
5 years.
it's 6 years. No, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy. I'll just start out by saying I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm a little overwhelmed. It feels like it's finally happening. I don't know if that's fair to say. Whatever it is, I don't know what we've been waiting for with this effort. I don't know what the goal has been. I don't know what the purpose truly of all this work, effort that we have put in. But it feels like we are arriving here, wherever, like here, like now, the here and now. What is happening now? Paired with, the avalanche of new Epstein stuff, all of this kind of renaissance resurgence of our archives is, it's happening because of the most recent Epstein release. All that garbage, all that never before seen bullshit. We know what all that means. The volume is
Well, it's come back a few times, and but not like this.
not like this.
I'm getting texts off friends who have never really been interested in what I've said, saying, "Oh, have you seen this?" But it's not. I know I've seen Epstein come around over the 5 years back and forth. But
Oh,
this has
sure.
come
They
back.
never let his digital bones rest.
It's
Yeah.
come back like a big package, like they've dropped an Epstein package on everyone with all new stuff, haven't they? Do you know?
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
but that's
And it feels like vindication for, I see so many in the conspiracy community calling this a vindication. We've been right about it all, going back and then bringing up the old Pizzagate stuff and, back to Pizzagate. And then there's, of course, messages in these new Epstein files that we can all search. This is what I've said for many years about the Podesta emails, back when WikiLeaks released all of the Podesta emails, and this was at the absolute nexus, the zenith point, the highest point of the Pizzagate, Pedogate era was the ability to search for ourselves, quote unquote, all of this material. Anybody and everybody could find their way, navigate to the WikiLeaks, and enter their little search query and see all these gross and grotesque emails be pulled up, and it felt real because we as individuals could interact, because we could search for it, and it felt like we were doing the digging, and what you discovered, it was like your own discovery, and that made it feel so real. I know this because I experienced it. I was one of those girls and guys searching through the muck and the mire. That was me, and feeling so righteous in my search and what I could find. And that made it feel real. And so it feels very real again today with this latest drop being, they said this big old package of poop being dropped on the doorsteps of every individual.
Have you seen, though, this time around that there's more people than ever
More than
saying
ever.
it's not real and he's
That's what's
fake and he doesn't
extraordinary.
exist? And
Yeah.
I've never seen that before, but yeah, it's like everyone is saying he's fake and he's not real. And even Grok is calling
Even
the
Grok.
videos
Yeah.
AI.
I've had a lot of people, they're finding the JonBenét thread and they're asking Grok to summarize, and he seems to lean in. Grok seems to lean in to the AI.
Go to where it started, because I
JonBenét.
wanted to get to that part with JonBenét, because I have looked it up, but how does it come into it? That's what I wanted to get to. But to start with, all these new videos that I remember in your episode with Tim Polat, and you was talking about there's only like 2 videos or something out there.
At that point, there was only one. It was
But
the deposition. Yeah.
Even over all this time, there's still hardly any. And then now, there's loads. There's they keep popping up on like shorts and stuff of
Hours
Epstein
of him
talking.
speaking. And what a weird voice. That's a voice and an accent that nobody else has. That's a one-of-one accent. It's like John F. Kennedy. Nobody spoke like the Kennedys. That was not a regional dialect. That was an individual programmed accent. Like that, it was not a real accent, and it was like a perfectly suited for a character because it wasn't real. Same thing with Epstein. His little accent, his voice, his accent, that's not a regional accent. That is a fake voice. It's a fake voice. I mean, all of it's fake, obviously, but the voice. This is our first time hearing him speak at length, and now we've got
other
like
than
an
about the
hour.
egg-shaped penis.
Other than the egg-shaped
that.
penis. Other than the egg-shaped penis, which again, back to making things real. What was the purpose of him speaking about his egg-shaped penis, or actually not speaking?
It wouldn't get asked, would it?
They asked, they right out of the gate. That was the first question in the deposition. Talk about the egg-shaped penis, and that was all that he needed to be able to cancel. I'm not having any of this, you know. And he took off his microphone or whatever and walked out the room, and you know the grotesque genitalia. Epstein's egg-shaped penis, Michael Jackson's spotted dick, Harvey Weinstein's inverted testicle, whatever. I've got, if you just look up, I've outlined all of these on Twitter.
Strange things, you know? We've said this in the past, strange things always have weird penises.
Yeah, like these characters
the panda
always have strange...
has a weird penis, doesn't it, again?
Right. But that makes it feel real, because if you believe that they've got an odd dick, then they're real. Ooh. Only real, you know, they got to be real to have an odd dick. You know, making it's a clever mechanism, because if you believe they have genitalia at all, then you believe they're real. And do you think that's doing something like tricking you into thinking? It's putting an image in your mind whether you like it or not when he says egg-shaped penis, because 100% makes it real.
What is it? Like
it forces us to picture it.
To try and picture it. Yeah.
And that, Rambo, is the crux of this whole thing. It's the crux of everything. It's the crux of searching the Podesta emails. It's the crux of searching through these new Epstein emails. As one reads these details, they visualize the grotesquerie in their minds. They visualize this harm to kids. They visualize this, all of it. It gets visualized. And that makes it real. If it lives in the minds, it's real. That's all that's needed. It doesn't actually need to exist in reality. But if we can render it, if it can be rendered through our imaginations and it lives in our minds as real, that's all that matters. This goes back to the crux of the 9/11 of it all the terror and trauma events, the devastation, the casualties. They do not need to be real. They just need to be believed. And if they are believed, then the trauma, the impact lands. The trauma is real. The events don't need to be real for the trauma to be real in the hearts and minds of the public. We make it real. If we believe it, we made it real.
With all these new videos now, so like he's talking about finances, I've seen a video of that. I posted that one. But like, yeah, it's weird to see him fully having a conversation.
Yeah. And they make him sound so erudite, you know, so well-spoken, so matter-of-fact,
like,
so...
Who
no ums, no us.
Releases it all. So they're saying these videos, so I've got a few comments on that video saying, well, it's been released with all this stuff, all these videos have been released, and one of them is labeled by AI as being released in 2019. Like, it's not. But
well, speaking of the finance stuff, let's just dig into that for a little bit. This is one of the things about Epstein that caught me from very early. His financial bona fides are nowhere to be found. It is complete. There are so many holes in his backstory. It makes zero sense. Okay, number one, his origin point is working at the Dalton School. He was a teacher at the Dalton School that William Barr's father was the headmaster of. But he didn't have a teaching credential. He didn't even graduate from college. How does one How does one become a teacher at an elite prep school with 0 credentials? They don't. It would only make sense if he was a character. It would only make sense if he was a character. He then goes on to work at Bear Stearns in Wall Street. Bear Stearns doesn't recruit prep school teachers. They recruit students from elite schools, not the teachers with no credentials, with no college education, who can't even spell their own name properly on the blackboard. Have you ever seen that picture? He doesn't even spell his own name right. So how does he get a job in finance? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense how he would enter the world of finance. If you try to map out any of his, and the story goes, he rises through the ranks. He becomes like a partner at Bear Stearns. There's not one detail of trades. There is literally 0 transactions, 0 trades that anyone can point to that Epstein was a part of. It does not exist. He has 0 financial footprint, other than what we're now seeing with these these documents, text on screen. There is
the
0 actual
money.
The lottery money, which that the Zorro Ranch, Zorro Trust winning the Powerball multiple times, not just once. That's a whole thing that goes back. That dovetails beautifully into the legal person versus natural person conversation.
Yeah, I wanted to get to that as well. I wanted to ask about that. Go over
all
that
of
again.
it, all of it, Rambo. All of this. This is our early work. This is.
Yeah, I'm getting likes on tweets from like 2020 and 2021.
My Sky News tweet with that red binder, green binder bullshit. Remember that from 2020, from I think March of 2020, where Rishi Sunak's carrying that emblazoned, leather-bound red binder, and then it's got the gold emblem and filigree, and it looks very official. And then he walks by a car, and it just turns into a regular old. People are finding that and resharing.
So again, it's showing that the camera trickery in it, really. Yeah. And I feel like, do you think that like Grok, these AI images are helping people think it's now believable that he wasn't real? Like, is that helped in a way where when we say like it's whatever the power out there, it's not really bad, it's trying to like help you somehow?
Yeah.
Maybe it has been, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I've thought all along, is this whole thing
AI
is rooting for us to wake up.
Yeah,
wants us to see.
Everyone's believing it now, and I just thought, is it because of these little pictures and videos people see? Like everything's just AI little shorts now on Twitter, isn't it? Like, yeah. And is that making people think, actually, why couldn't these videos of him be fake? Because all the pictures, you don't even have to be any sort of even expert or anything to look at the photos. If you look at them enough, you can see they are fake. Any photo on images of him.
Every photo.
And
everyone.
You don't need to. You can just feel it. You can see it, can't you? You know,
right. We don't need any detection software. We don't need any sort of tool other than our own 2 eyes and our sense of discernment. But our eyes can trick us. You know, we have to train our brain on this. And maybe by being shown this is AI, this is AI, this is AI, that is a way of training the brain over time. I have shared this many times back in, before I woke up before I stared at that image of sweet baby JonBenét on January 8th of 2020, and something broke in my brain, and I said, my God, she's not even real. And the rest is history. Leading up to that was me casually perusing thispersondoesnotexist.com. Just happened upon it, played with it a couple times, kept kind of returning to it because it was very novel. I thought it was cool. I didn't quite know the mechanisms behind it. At that point, I didn't know what GAN technology was, but I did think it was cool. I was like, wow, this is cool. Because the first time I went on thispersondoesnotexist.com, I thought all them faces were real. I couldn't see it. I literally could not see it. But you click, and then you click, and then you click, and then you click, knowing the whole time that these are not real faces. You know that, and you're told that, and you know that. And then you start to see it. You begin to see. And by picture 15, 16, 17, you're noticing that the earlobe is missing, and you're noticing that there's like teeth growing out of the neck, or all these crazy anomalies that were entirely invisible before. They were invisible until we trained our brain. It's truly a tuning. You have to tune the instrument. You have to tune, and y'all know I don't love to give credit to the brain, but you know.
That was like the first site you could kind of do that on as well, wasn't it? That was like basic. So now when you just type it in, oh, do me a face, and it just does you a face. Like, and again, it's still got them off, something off with the pictures.
Yeah. And you don't know you can't see the offness until you've become aware of it and trained your brain towards it.
With his face, with his videos, with his life and stuff, and how he is, and he's rich, like in the interview, and they're saying, "Oh, have you got your money?" And he's like, "I've worked hard." And for all that though, and how he's appearing in court for things and stuff, like the natural person stuff. Do you want to explain that? Like, how you, do you remember the legal, how he can be real but not real?
Yeah,
how
and this is like,
his name is a real thing in court, in anywhere. It can have a company, it can have,
absolutely.
It can win the lottery. Do you know what I mean? That's where, if someone said to you, but how's he, all right, his AI video, but how's his name on this house?
Right. Legal person versus natural person. This is a mechanism of our legal system that allows for an entity, which could be an individual or a group of individuals or a company, to create, in name, a person. This in name person is called a legal person, and it can exist. It exists on paper. It exists within legal framework. It can be set up to exist within the legal system, and that legal person, which does not have a body, which is not embodied in real life, which is not actually tied to a natural born person. A natural person is any individual walking around, any individual actually living. That is a natural person. A legal person can have all of the rights of a natural person. It can enter into any sort of legal agreement that a natural person can. It can have a mortgage. It can be sued. It can win the lottery. It can do anything on paper, enter into any sort of agreement, and to take on debts. It can do really anything that a natural person. It could have an island, absolutely, in its name. All of this, and it doesn't actually have to have a real person behind it. And I encourage anyone to just look up legal person versus natural person. This is not like, I mean, it is sleight of hand, but it's not like a sneaky thing. I mean, this is just a regular thing within the legal system. There are, and we're familiar with shell companies. Okay, like we know what a shell company is. A shell company is a company that looks legitimate on paper. It has all of the credentials that would be needed to be a company. It appears on the surface as a legitimate operating business. It can have an avalanche of documentation to support this legitimacy. But we know that it's called a shell company for a reason, because once you travel through all of these complex chambers, just like a shell, the spiraling chambers, at the very center of this complex system that our legal system allows for, at the very center is a hollowness, just like a shell. At the very center, there is a nothingness. And we know that companies use shell companies are used for all sorts of things, usually nefarious.
So was the company called Jeffrey Epstein?
Zorro Trust. Yeah, just Jeffrey Epstein and
would
company.
Would that be the legal
Jeffrey
person?
Epstein is the legal person. Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein is the legal person.
So is that kind of his company, the name behind the other companies, but that is what's been given as, we'll assign it as Jeffrey Epstein. That's the legal guy. And would he get in trouble for everything if anything was to go, like, if someone else was going to use it in real life, would they be able to get away with stuff for having a legal person instead of an actual person?
What do you mean? I don't know if I
Like behind
understand
that
the
name,
question.
like could they like that how they've destroyed the Epstein's name as being a legal person? Do you know what I mean? Does it matter to anybody, or is that like a company going bust?
I don't think it matters. I don't think anybody's upset about this because all of this is by design. This
Yeah,
downfall
yeah.
is all by design. What we're experiencing right now is all part of the character narrative arc. All of it. Like this is all. No one's getting in trouble. No one's worried about this release. This is all part of it. This is all part of the play. What we're experiencing now. This isn't disturbing anyone's sleep at night. The entities behind the Epstein name are not quaking in their boots at, that oh no, they're finally onto us with this latest release. The public's going to know how bad we are. No, I'm not sure if I'm really understanding your question, but
It's like if he's a company, if so as a legal name, he's just like a company name, innit? So
yeah.
he's
He's
a
a shell
company.
person. He's a shell
Yeah,
person.
so they just like kind of bust that company, so he's not. No one wants to be involved with that name. So all them companies that he was linked with was all fake as well, basically, for the winnings and the
that is an
finances.
interesting, because this is the only quote unquote documented element of his financial success is his relationship with Les Wexner, the scion atop the Victoria's Secret empire. The story goes that whatever his name is. You guys know.
Wexner, Les Wexner?
Is it Les or is it Lex?
Lex Wes. You got my tongue going now.
Lex Wes.
Wexner. Is it
Les?
Wexner?
It's sorry, guys. I'm so sorry.
You got me there. I want to know.
Les Wexner. Les
right.
Wexner. Okay, so the story, and this is the only documented, like when I was talking about earlier, like what trades was he a part of? If he was this big financial wizard and rose to the ranks of Bear Stearns, what was he a part of? Like where is his success? What maneuvers can you point to that go, Jeffrey Epstein orchestrated this trade? Look how successful it was. Jeffrey Epstein organized this IPO. Look how successful it was. Like, there's none of that. None of that exists. The singular source of proof for his financial prowess was the story of his relationship with Les Wexner and becoming his financial guru and taking over his entire financial empire and controlling this billionaire's financial empire, which even that, if you actually try to dig into any sort of transactions or any sort of methodologies, it's a vaporware. There's nothing to actually show for this purported. It's documented only, when I say documented relationship, it's only because it's been reported about in the news. That doesn't make it real. But there is literally no proof that Epstein did anything for Les Wexner. There's literally no proof of his financial happenings for this man. There is nothing to show. There's nothing. There's literally nothing. And I don't think that Mr. Wexner's a real individual. I think he's another character in this tableau. I think everyone connected to Jeffrey is a character. And this reminds me, we're really jumping around, but my brain is ping-ponging right now. It reminds me of that Q drop and it was repeated, but it was like, there will come a day where they can't walk through the streets, where these individuals, these ne'er-do-wells, these baddies, where they won't be able to walk through the streets. And everyone thought that meant they're going to be so known and so hated, like their bad doings will be so known of by the public that they cannot show their faces. They can't walk outside or they'll be lynched by the public, by the mob. I have, ever since my awakening, I have always read that line as, one day we will realize that these people are not real and real people cannot walk through streets.
They can't show the faces.
They can't show their faces. They don't have legs. They don't got legs. They can't walk through the street. No legs. Which reminds me of one of Jeffrey Epstein's infamous photographs where he's sitting on a sofa with, I don't know, Bill Clinton or Trump or whatever, Melania, and he doesn't have any legs.
Oh, I've never, Joe, what? Till you posted that the other day. I'd not seen that one.
He doesn't.
Where he's on like a sofa and it's just like kind of stuck him in.
It's just his torso. And there's no legs. There's no legs.
And then there's that one that used to stand out to me is where he's like kissing Ghislaine. Mm-hmm. And they're not
even
there.
Touching.
It's like
they're
photos
they're on two
overlapping.
Separate planes.
Yeah.
Yep, they're on two completely separate planes.
That one used to get me.
Mm-hmm. All of them get me. But yeah. And the one where he's in lockstep with Ghislaine, they're walking through some sort of movie theater and they have the exact same gait. They have the exact same stride and they're both missing a foot. They're both missing a foot. And in the background is a poster for the movie Clueless. And it says it in big white letters, Clueless. And I'm like, they think we're clueless. They think we are clueless. There's no fate on these. There's no fate on these people.
But with all these names that are coming out from it and stuff, like it's only like elite kind of names, isn't it, really? And politicians and stuff, really, that
Characters.
also can be fake. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
these characters can only exist in their shared shallow universe. And that is why JonBenét Ramsey is showing up in Epstein's release, the latest release.
do you think that they've done it? Like, it's like no one's asking, like, why are they telling on themselves? Like,
Right.
they're telling on themselves for the whole thing. Like, it's like somebody investigating like a company when they go, like the BBC investigates the BBC. That's what it's kind of like. It's it's being put out there for us, isn't it? Do you know?
Yeah. It does feel like it's a
Is it going to bring old characters back, like other fake characters, like Bill Gates? Like, what happened to Bill Gates? Like, he was just like the talk of. With this, normally when this comes up, Bill Gates' name starts to come up, but I've not really seen it or heard that name.
I did see I'm seeing lots of videos of his ex-wife, Melinda, coming out and her, being very forcefully against Bill's, actions. And it's time for him to answer for these actions. And it's...
Will Ghislaine come back into it? Because she's gone... And with the JonBenét, how that photo all the way back when all of a sudden it just appeared, didn't it? That Ghislaine and JonBenét photo. Mm-hmm. And is that how she then comes into the files? Because I don't get how she's now in the files, if you want to tell me. Yeah, that's where I was going with it. Like, what? How did JonBenét, when you said it, JonBenét, I looked up and how all of a sudden... Is it linked to that picture? Does that picture get mentioned at all?
It's another picture. Apparently, there's a painting, and JonBenét's dad even came out and said that picture's AI generated. All of this is false. That's an AI generated picture, and I'm like, this is so rich. This is so rich. And when I say JonBenét's dad, he's also a character. JonBenét doesn't have a dad because she's not real. So, I'm using. We don't have language for this. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can, y'all. But, so many years ago, there was a picture that came out of nowhere of JonBenét Ramsey in a little Dutch girl outfit. And that image struck me for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, the reason being I have the exact same picture of myself, truly. The exact same pose, the exact same outfit, I'm a little bit younger than JonBenét was in the picture, but same blonde hair. It's a template. It's a template. And when I saw that picture of her, I was like, why is that so familiar? Oh, because that's me. Like I have that picture like that. I have a picture of me sitting exactly like she's sitting, wearing the exact same little costume, same little Dutch hat, the same flowers on our hands. Anyway, so that was just the first ding on that little image. The second ding is in the background is a woman who looks suspiciously like Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine, which for a person indicted for sex trafficking, having a name, Giz, sex, lane, cars, traffic, lane, cars drive in lanes on a highway. So her name literally means sex traffic. Ghislaine. I can't get over it. I can't even with all of this. But seeing her in the background, for the conspiracy world, that exploded a whole new avenue of JonBenét was nabbed by Pizzagate, Pedogate. She's down on the island. For me, thankfully, I witnessed that picture as I was waking up, as I was breaking through. And for me, that was proof of the Ouroboros, of the snake devouring its own tail. And by tail, I mean a play on words. Tail is in Tail, the tail of the snake, but also the tale, the fictional story. The snake is now devouring its own tail. And these characters can only exist in their shared shallow universe. So now we're 6 years in.
So how did she end up in the files though? Like, is that what did they bring JonBenét's name?
There's a picture.
Just that picture.
There's a picture of Epstein's house. So it's not even this. It's not even the Ghislaine Maxwell one. It is a picture of Epstein's home, which has a large photo. It looks like a painting. I mean, it looks unreal, but it's a photo of Jeffrey Epstein with a little girl on his shoulders. And that little girl, the face is X'd out, but you can, blotted out with the big black spot. But there exists a picture where she's wearing that exact outfit and the hair is the same. It's her. Like they want you to think that it's her. They want.
You're kind of linking it all together, isn't it? Really, there.
Yeah. For me,
clues.
For me, it's these are stacking. The illusions are stacked so high and so precariously on top of the next. Right now, it is a Jenga tower just ready to fall. It will collapse under the weight of itself, the illusion. And I think that that's what's meant to happen anyway. I think that it's meant to fall. I think the veil is meant to slip. I think that this is how it's always meant to go. And we've talked about this, like, well, what's the point of the illusion? Like, why put us through this? I think we have to go through it. The only way out is through. The only way out is straight on through. And that through line, we have to go into the maze. We have to go through the maze for ourselves. We have to experience it for ourselves. We have to be tricked deeply and thoroughly and wholly tricked ourselves to one day come out on the other side, to exit the labyrinth and look back and go, oh, I see.
How did they believe that?
Yeah.
Or to appreciate. How do you not see it?
Well, you actually go, I can see why I was tricked because the illusion's pretty good. The rabbit holes are dug. It's the complex series of rabbit holes, which, this has always been interesting to me too. The construction of a rabbit hole, I mean, of course it ties into conspiracy world, these rabbit holes we find ourselves down, but an actual rabbit hole that rabbits live in, the construction of a rabbit hole is very zigzaggy. Like you go in through the hole and then there's this series of switchbacks. And those switchbacks are designed to diminish light. The further and further and further and further you enter into a rabbit's hole, the farther and farther and farther you go from the light. They're architecturally set up that way. They're constructed that way to limit light with each switchback. Like that is the purpose of these switchbacks, is to get darker and darker and darker. And it has some, reasons like predators and whatever. So there's reasons for it, but like there's no light found down these rabbit holes. There's no truth. There's no truth to be found deep down the rabbit hole. But it is important that we kind of lose ourselves down there for a minute. We got to. I think it's important. All of us, I think every single one of us has been deep down them rabbit holes. That's the reason you're here. That's the reason you hear my voice right now, is because you too have been tricked. And then you're like, Okay. I can, now we're sitting in the wings and we're watching The Magician from stage left. Instead of being in the audience, we're now kind of watching from the wings, and we can see that sleight of hand from a different vantage point. Perspective is absolutely everything. Perspective is everything.
So when did it come into the news? So because I didn't really think of it until the 2nd of Feb, right, which was Monday.
Was that when it was?
No, I think it was like 2 days before, but it really went hard on the internet like a couple of days after. As more videos come out, it was more videos that came out.
Yeah. Okay, Friday, January 2026, which tracks because big releases are always done on a Friday. That's like news 101. Yeah.
The reason I brought that up is, have you noticed now more celebrities? So what's in our news today is about a lot. Nicki Minaj with all this as well. So on the 33rd day of the year, which was Monday, she done a tweet, didn't she, about rituals?
Yeah.
While all this is, did you see it?
I did. Do you have that tweet pulled up?
I've got it here.
Yeah, read that. Just read that, because I think that there's two things happening. There's a real fracture happening. There's people that are separating and realizing everything is fake, and then there's people that are being, more people are being sucked in.
Are they the rabbit holes going back on themselves?
Or they're kind of coming into this for the first time, and then they're gonna, maybe they've kind of they've been like a super normie and have never, this is the first time where they're getting any sort of like, maybe their conspiracy pal has been talking about Epstein for a couple of years, all the pedogate stuff, Pizzagate stuff, and then now they're hearing this stuff, the BBC and the New York Times, and everyone's kind of actually talking to CNN.
One of our MPs dropped down today.
Right.
Come up as a news flash.
Right. And there's going to be more of those. And I think
loads, I think.
Loads. And CEOs are stepping down.
It's all connected.
And these they're all figureheads. All these politicians on the world stage, all these CEOs at the top of these corporate entities. And that the corporate entity, not to sidetrack us too much, but that kind of goes back to this whole legal person, natural person, because there was a legal framework enacted, I think in the 90s, that enabled corporations to be people. Corporations are people too. I'm not sure if you remember that phrase, but that was a big thing that is what began the allowance of the legal person framework, is when corporations were allowed to behave as people, given all the rights as a natural person. Anywho, and so the figureheads atop of these big corporations, I think, are exactly that, just puppets. So the CEO of Nike stepping down means nothing because he's just a figurehead. The CEO of Disney stepping down, Bob Iger, means nothing. He's just a figure. These politicians on the world stage, not to rehash all the things we've ever talked about, but these politicians are characters, Local politicians, I think we've got, there's some real stuff going on the local level, but once you get to the federal level, once you get to the big top, under the big top, that's when they're all puppets, characters, clowns.
Yeah, and it's like, for me, it all came up on Monday, this 33rd day, which I just thought was a bit strange. It's like we just got January out the way, and then it's like boom.
Yeah, it really hit us like a ton of bricks.
With like a big thing. But with Nicki Minaj, now, wasn't she like a Biden kind of person at one point?
I don't really remember her
So they're calling it a conversion to Trump.
Okay.
And then on this night, so she's been like basically Kanye Westing since the Epstein stuff, hasn't she, really? And
read that one where she shared the Chucky doll. Because I think
Chrissy Teigen's got a dick. So that again goes in with what everyone's saying. Then she written, as they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked. Blessed in the mighty name of Jesus Christ.
I thought there was one that was more about like all the pedogate stuff. Yeah. She was really leaning hard into it. Oh,
there is that. With the Chucky one, there's that. I haven't actually got that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought with the ritual on it being on the 33rd night when she's done it, I thought, interesting. But yeah, it's all going a bit crazy. And I just find watching these Epstein videos interesting, as in, how? Yeah. It's like they brought him back from the dead to do more interviews if you was to believe the whole story.
I know.
Unless you're not looking at it as though like it's fake, those interviews, those pictures, they're fake, then you must have think he's come back from the dead because he's everywhere at the moment.
And you're right. He is everywhere at the moment. And this, I keep calling it an avalanche because that's what it is. We're being buried by all of this new quote unquote evidence. It's something that I would like to call evidence overload. And all these photos, documents, testimony, even the leaks, it doesn't authenticate reality. What it does is it stabilizes belief. Fiction does not require the absence of artifacts. It requires controlled abundance of them. Just like walking through a museum and you see 1,000 relics that look like they were made in some sort of factory, in some sort of warehouse. It's a controlled abundance of artifacts. And that's what we're experiencing right now. And this, again, this absolute dump, this dump onto us is, I think,
That's what it is, isn't it? It's just been dumped on us, a whole load of new stuff.
Bullshit. Yeah. Truly a dump. They took a dump on us for sure. But I think that it stinks. It stinks with the sour stench of desperation.
Look how many people are saying to it, it's fake, and checking. People still use like the AI to check if it's fake, don't they? But
yeah.
It's people are doing that, and that was never before. 5 years ago, people were saying it was crazy to suggest that he wasn't real and he didn't exist as a person and stuff like that. But now I feel like there's quite a few people out there that can see that being the case as well.
And 6 years ago,
that's a positive, isn't it?
It's a great positive. It's a great positive. And it just shows that all of this is happening for a reason. But 6 years ago, when I first started talking about JonBenét and Epstein and how they weren't real and how the technology that would enable this type of character development and this type of digital puppetry, I was a little ahead of my time. Nobody could connect. Very few people could connect with what I was talking about because we didn't have any examples. Nobody knew what GAN technology was back then. Nobody knew what AI, what deep fakes were back then. It was language and concepts that were so foreign, too foreign. It was too foreign. It was too foreign to be accepted. It was too foreign to be even heard. And it was just roundly rejected. And not even rejected, it couldn't even hit the shores. Couldn't even land, It was just too cast far, just too much. A bridge too far. It was too much. But over time, we began to cobble together a cogent awareness of this type of technology. We were shown drip by drip, slowly, that this type of technology does in fact exist, and we were allowed to play with it, and we were allowed to interact with it in a way that made us familiar with it. And then once people had a familiarity and kind of a baseline for this type of high-level generative fakery, they started to be able to comprehend what it is we've been talking about for a long time, for 6 years. That these individuals are not authentic, they're not real, and that there is a slew of technologies available, always have been, that would enable this. That would enable everything that we've been talking about. But when we started, it was crazy. It was crazy. Rambo. We were crazy. Just too crazy.
Because I went through a stage of thinking he was fake, but the name Jeffrey Epstein was being used to blackmail genuine people at one point in my journey. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I feel like someone who wanted to make it would be blackmailed with, or we'll put you in a picture with Epstein if you don't do this. That's what I was thinking.
And maybe that is happening. Maybe there are some real folks that are being ensnared
Yeah, to make it more
in
real
this,
to
make it
people
even more real.
around. Yeah.
So the real people are being referenced in those.
'Cause that's all it took, wasn't it, really, to see a picture. I remember one with Piers Morgan, and he was saying that was fake as well. It's, over the time, they're kind of telling you that it's fake. Because they all deny the photos as well, don't they? Do you know? So then Elon Musk with Ghislaine, and he said that was fake.
Yeah.
That one where they're like walking through like a ballroom or something.
Yeah, and she's wearing that purple dress.
Yeah, he said that was fake. It's like they've been telling us the whole time that it's all fake.
It's all fake. Everything's fake. We're back to
I
square
think that's why
one.
they've made it like the darkest of journeys, really, haven't they? It couldn't be any darker, really.
It truly couldn't be any darker. It truly, truly, truly couldn't be any darker. And I've said this before. I even wrote a haiku about it, but there's a trap door at the bottom of the ocean that leads to the top of the sky. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I just saw there in the latest release, there is a picture breaking. This has just been released. There's a trap door. A trap door inside Epstein's house that leads to the sea. Trap door inside Epstein's house that led to the sea. That's what all of the new. It's always open directly to the sea. A trap door that leads to the sea. A trap door that leads to the sea. A trap door that leads to the sea. That is being repeated over and over and over and over and over. The trap door at the bottom of the ocean leads us to sea. To see with our eyes. We have to go to the depths. We have to ourselves sink to the bottom of the ocean, go to the darkest of the depths before we can come into the light, before we can exit through the trapdoor at the bottom of the ocean and go back to the top of the sky and be released. That was crazy when I saw the trapdoor, because I was like, that's my poem. That's my haiku. Like, again, and I rendering.
Do you remember that viral video? It kind of went viral of the Epstein Island, and he was showing you it was a prop and stuff. And I don't believe that was
a movie set.
Just done by a random guy on YouTube.
Right.
I feel like it's been put out there for us to find. Oh, look, it's a movie set. You know, it's all made of wood. So then if you think it's all underground, don't they? That's what they want you to think. But yeah, it's telling you it's a Hollywood prop, really. And it was like he goes around and he goes in like the back of an ambulance, and then he'll go and he knocks on the temple, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. And then there was that picture of the temple dome blown off.
The dome was just like plastic.
It's like the whole time when you look back,
the doors were painted on. They're not even and that is set design 101. Introduction to theater set design 101.
We've been told all this by the same place you're getting told it was other things. Do you know what I mean? Like it's been there the whole time. Like when you look back at it, you're like,
yeah,
they were telling us the whole time it was all fake.
Yeah. And back to kind of like the plot holes in his background, because if you really, and even if you look up some of the early, like the first time he was ever mentioned in print was a Vanity Fair article. I believe the date was 1997, and it talks about the mysterious Mr. Epstein, or the talented Mr. Epstein, which is a rip off the talented Mr. Ripley, which again is about false identities. So even in the headline,
when did you first hear of him then?
No, I started hearing about him when I was in the Pizzagate, Pedogate.
Prince Andrew. That was the first thing I seen when they walked around Central Park. The photo that I'd seen him in like a newspaper or something. There's a photo of Prince Andrew and Epstein walking together in a park.
Yeah,
that was the first time when I think that's the first time I recognised the name.
I never heard of Epstein until I was down the rabbit holes.
Yeah, in there as well.
Yeah.
But that's when that was at the time. It was all in it. So he's come back into it as well, and
yeah. And then I found news articles, but like he's not mentioned ever. Like he has zero footprint until he's first mentioned in a Vanity Fair article. I believe the writer, her name was Vicky Ward, wrote the very first article about him. But even in that article, like the writer falls over themselves trying to explain away the inconsistencies and the gaps of his life. Of his life. Yeah. And characters are not meant to withstand scrutiny. They're meant to just route attention. just enough, like give them just enough narrative detailing to keep our attention arrested. They're not really meant to hold up to scrutiny. And I said this about JonBenét. I said this about JonBenét in my JonBenét thread. With the slightest of scrutiny, this story falls apart like a $3 watch. The pageants, talking about JonBenét, the pageants, that's a blinding element. It gives her character so much texture, her being a pageant girl. And it creates so many narrative threads and calling into question, her parents, and then the whole the weirdness of the pageant world. And it gives texture. It texturizes this false character. But if you look into the pageants, if you scrutinize, that falls apart. The pageants themselves didn't even exist. Every single one of them that she was purported to have won. And that was a big part of my thread. And I was discovering all of this in real time. That's what's so magical about that thread, is I was discovering it in real time. Because not long before, literally like days before, I had written a whole other thread that was all about JonBenét being part of this pedogate, satanic ritually abused, gross, just gross, absolutely gross.
So you could have been saying she was Katy Perry right now.
I could have. I could be, or Erica Kirk. I could be on the Erica Kirk as JonBenét train right now. Choo choo. Thank God I'm not. But yeah. Oh my God, Rambo. It just feels.
It's like
feels wild.
Gone back in time a bit. Yeah, it does. It is wild at how much it's come back. Like,
yeah.
And not many people, like, they're all that's what I'm seeing more than anything, is people saying it's fake, and it's like, it's good to see.
It's great to see. There is a tiny little level of, I'll just call it butthurtness on my part when I see people taking my work and our work and sharing it as their own all these years later. I'm like, ooh. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. It doesn't matter who.
Come back around at it, yeah.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't matter. And I think cosmically, universally, it does tie back. That's why I used to get so bothered and butthurt over plagiarism when people would lift, like word for word, lift my work. But now I realize, like, there is a cosmic credit. It doesn't. There is a cosmic. It ties back energetically to me, even if I'm not credited. There's still a cosmic tie back. I believe that deeply now, and maybe that's just me being Delulu, but that helps me when I see someone lifting my work. I'm like, well, the universe is tying it back to me. The universe is crediting me. It doesn't have to be credited publicly, but it's happening on a much larger scale, on a much grander scale. And the fact that my work is finding its way, it's embodied in a new vehicle, maybe that new vehicle will go farther than I could have transported it. So let it go. Off you go. Off you go, information. Off you go into the night. My Twitter's blowing up. I say blowing up, it's not blowing up, but like I was hovering at 62K for a couple of years, Rambo. Like, yeah, I was like, nothing could move that dial. And I was, and 62K is not bad. It's nothing to shake a stick at. So it's not like I was like, oh, woe is me. But I was also on a part of me, and I was like, I feel like this should blow up. It's singularly unique. It's hard to find. It's hard to find material that is unique these days. And we're coming from a place that is singularly unique, which I think is highly valuable and important. And anyway, so the fact that I am starting to get, like, every morning I wake up and it's another 1,000 followers on Twitter. And I'm like, whoa, wow. This trajectory isn't going to be so parabolic, it's going to level off, but each person that finds their way to the distant shores of human vibration each person who arrives, I'm imagining that mind. I'm imagining that person. This could change their life. Like this mindset has the ability to change life, to alter forever that person's mind.
See,
Freedom.
Everything's
freedom.
fake.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like the release, the sweet, sweet release I felt. Going from, I was trapped. God, I was so sick. I was so trapped in those disgusting thoughts, imagining everything with Podesta and Epstein and eating babies on Epstein Island. And that's what was filling my mind. Disgusting. I was imprisoned by disgusting thoughts. And I remember I went to a wedding in like 2017 or 2018. It was such a beautiful wedding. It was such a beautiful, joyous. It was an African couple from Liberia, and it was like just a very African culture wedding, and the music and the dancing. It was so otherworldly and so incredible, but I could not enjoy it because I was sitting at the table, huddled on my phone, poring over Podesta shit at the wedding. I'll never forget that.
But it was entertaining as bad as it was like watching a series where you have to keep going.
Definitely kept me trapped. I was hooked. I was on the hook. And the freedom that I felt when that broke for me, when the veil lifted, the freedom that came with that was, for me, it was life-changing. There's no other way to say it. It was night and day. It was night and day. And instantaneously, night and day. And everywhere I looked, once I realized that JonBenét wasn't real, every direction, the first direction I looked was Epstein. I was like, oh, that fucker ain't real either. Oh my God. But everywhere I looked, all these old things that had trapped these mental imprisonments, these bear traps for the mind, all of them released one by one. And I was
That's
free.
what I mean. Like, where people might see it as a negative outlook, but it's not until you
the only negative outlook is believing this bullshit.
Yeah,
because that is negative.
People say, isn't things just boring if you think everything? Like, not really. No,
you get to live your life. It gets better. It becomes hilarious. Instead of being traumatized by all these things, we get to laugh at it. We get to laugh at how silly it all is. They say laughter is the best medicine. They also say ignorance is bliss. And I'm not talking about, ignorance is in a lack of education, a lack of understanding. I'm talking about a willful and deliberate ignoring. To ignore the noise and nonsense is a gift. It's a gift. It is bliss. And bliss is that neutral center. You're not on this side or that side. You're neutrally centered, unaffected. Unaffected. Doesn't matter what headline comes out. Those headlines can't hurt you anymore. You're at your blissful neutral center. And I know how that felt for me. And it was a game changer. Absolute game changer. Life is, there's no going back.
So it's like a lifting weight off you, isn't it, really? That's how it kind of felt for me.
And it's wobbly at first, unsettling, to say the least. But soon, that kind of shaky feeling is replaced by firm ground, by terra firma. For the first time, you arrive at solid ground, at a solid shore, And then you can build upon that. You can build upon that new solid foundation that you've created for yourself, that you've constructed for yourself. It may happen through the work of someone else. Like, you may discover my work or Rambo's work, and that's what gets you there. But once you're there, and once you kind of unravel all of your kind of old beliefs for yourself, and everyone's going to have like kind of a different avenue to this. But once you're there, you get to live your own life. You get to start thinking your own thoughts. You get to do whatever the hell you want. You start rendering a reality of your own making. You actually get that capacity back.
You feel a bit of you feel you've got some sort of power.
Your power comes back, baby. Power to the people. Absolutely. We are so powerful. We are so incredibly powerful. We are the true creators of this space. We are not creatures on this earth. We are creators of this realm. We are creators of our own life, and we are the creators of our own destiny. And I think that being tied up in all the bullshit, all the fakery, it diminishes us. It retards us.
Creating something else, aren't you then?
Yeah, you get to create whatever it is you want.
Being programmed.
And we've all got something different. We've all got a gift. We've all got our own journeys. We've all got our own destinies. But we can't even begin to walk towards that destiny, to manifest that destiny for ourselves if we're so caught up in the bullshit. Pardon my French.
It's see where things go. What else gets dropped on us now though, because it's going to have like some sort of follow up. It's like feels like they've opened the tin of worms again.
I'd love to hear from the new people. I would love to hear from the new people when we post this episode. Oh, and this is going to be the first episode of the month, so it'll go for everybody. I might even release this one for free. I might even put this one out on the platforms. You know what I'm saying? Like put this one out as like a bonus on Apple and Spotify. I think it's time. I think
it seems perfect timing.
I think the time is now. The time is now. I might even do that. I'm going to think about that, but my gut's saying do it. My gut's saying put this out there. But I would love to hear from y'all. I would love to hear from the new people. What brought you to these distant shores, you know? And how are you feeling with this new mindset? Even if you don't necessarily buy into everything that we're saying. And that's never been the goal for you guys, just to full lock, stock, and barrel, just believe every word out of our mouth without scrutinizing or questioning for yourself. No, do your own use this as a launch pad. Use everything that we say as a launch pad and go forth and discover what feels right for yourself, you know? Don't get too bogged down in all the, don't let your research consume you. Tread lightly and with a light heart and light spirit, because we don't want to go right back to square one with just losing ourselves down the rabbit holes again. But yeah, this is a lens more than anything. What Realize Radio is a shared lens through which to see. And you can look through this lens and you can see what you see, you know? Anyway, I'm proud of us, Rambo.
Me too. Freedom.
Freedom. Let freedom ring. All right, we'll talk soon.
Take care.